Hello YouTubers, and welcome to a new video of Arepas for Dinner. So, for the ones who don't know me, my name is Andrea, and I do videos about my life in the Czech Republic. For the ones that follow me for a while, you know this is not my normal environment, and that's because we are no longer living in Prague.
What?
Like what? We decided to move away from Prague. Why? Well, because we wanted to live bigger. So this video is about suburbs versus city and why people pick one or the other. So that's it. Let's start with video. But first of all, follow me on Instagram because actually today at 6 p.m. I'm gonna be doing a live home tour on my Instagram. That is here, by the way. So I'm not gonna show my house in this video. So if you wanna see my house, I actually have on Instagram one of those bubbles that says new home. You can see the entire moving process and everything. That, by the way, you can tell that I'm not recording with my normal camera because I cannot find anything in this mess. So I'm recording and doing this video with whatever I can. You know, guys, how important for me is to deliver videos on time and to give you always new and fun content to watch. So that's it. Let's start with video. Okay, in my opinion, there's actually 4 types of people. Number 1 is they live in the city and leave the city. Number 2 is they live in the city but they leave the country life. Number 3 is they live in the country and they leave the country. And number 4 is they live in the country but they like to live the city life. So I'm going to explain each of these people and you can tell me down in the comments which one are you, because you know you can be living in the city and not be a city person. Just saying. Live in the city and live the city life. This is the perfect example of the expats. They live in small apartments and are so okay with it. They only actually go home to sleep. They do not entertain their house. They do not do house parties. They tend to not have pets. They do not wish to have a big house. They enjoy even drinking coffee in a coffee shop, not even making it at home. They really enjoy those small shops around the city. They enjoy using the public transportation. They don't even need a car. They don't even have a car, maybe. They love your potravini. They're potravini people. They actually go to the supermarket or to the potravini every day to buy whatever they're gonna eat. And for them, anything after Angel, that's already not Prague. Number 2, live in the city but love the country life. I feel that a lot of Czech people living in Prague actually falls into this category. They live in small apartments, but they have chalupas that they go to every weekend during summer. They might have dogs. They enjoy planting things in their balconies, in their houses. Their houses are filled up with so many plants. They do not go often to restaurants. They do have a car and they do use it on the weekends. They tend to live in places after Angel, kind of like Chodov in the other side or Stodulki in this side, you know what I mean. Let's say that the majority of mothers and fathers of Czech people are this type of people, in my opinion. Category 3. They live in the country and they love the country. They live in small towns, 100%. They like to live in big houses. They like to be in the nature. They use the car every day, or they walk or they bike, but they're not very public transportation people. They also grow tomatoes, but actually this time in their backyard. All their friends have big houses, so they do house parties and they entertain at home. They're not fans of restaurants. They cook at home or they go to the local beer garden. It's more of a homemade life, and they might have more siblings than the ones in the city. And finally, they cannot see themselves living in a big city like Prague with all the noise and all the people around. And number 4, I am in that category, like for sure. They live in the country, but they do enjoy the city. They live around cities, but not inside the city. These are your suburbs people. They work in the city, making money, but they actually like to live apart. They probably have dogs. They enjoy the nature, hiking, biking, gardening, but they also enjoy a restaurant once in a while or a very good nightclub. They do love entertaining and having parties at home. They have a car and they use it. These are the folks that use the car the most. They are big supermarket people. Your macro people would go to a coffee shop, maybe, but they would much rather have a coffee bar in their home. So after this list, I have to say, I declare myself, hello, my name is Andrea Librandi, and I'm a type 4 person. Let me know what type of person are you according to this list. So yeah, I'm very proud of being a type 4 person, and I've always been, and I think I will always be, because I enjoy too much my personal space. I like to have garden. I like to have a patio, a pool. I like to have a bigger kitchen. I just enjoy bigger. I don't really mind the hassle of having to keep up with it, to just cleaning, tidy up, cook every day. I really don't mind. I don't mind driving. Like, I'm a type 4 for sure. I grew up in a big house, and all my friends and family had houses, big houses. So we used to entertain at home. So I'm used, and I grew up so much in that style, that to change it completely to the place I live, not to be big enough to entertain, to have dinner parties, to have actual parties, it was hard for me. I was literally making parties in my tiny ass apartment. Actually, click here somewhere so you can see that video about my 30-year-old birthday. We were so many people in that apartment. It's amazing. When I recently moved to Prague, I lived as a type 1. Because I wanted to go out every day, go to all the restaurants and just leave Prague. But with time, you know, real life starts kicking in, and you start to prioritize what you like and what is not that important anymore. I believe that Jan was actually a type 2, like many of the people that live in the surroundings of Prague are. In my opinion, any of these 4 lifestyles is valid and is fair and is nice. The only important thing is to figure out which one are you. Why? Because that's actually going to bring you happiness, to know where would you be happier, and to not follow everybody else, because that's what I was doing at the beginning. I was just following what every expat was doing, that was to live in the city, to live in Prague, and that was not making me completely happy. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit why this is the best option for us, and perhaps maybe it could be the best option for you, so you can, you know, wash off the fear of living outside of Prague. We have 2 cars that we use daily. Even when living in Prague, we were using the car daily. So we don't really rely on public transportation. Now, John needs the car to work, and I work from home. So every time I go out, I actually take the car, because it's to go to a big supermarket or to go to like a big far store. And I only use the metro when I'm going to the city center. That might be like once a week, once every 10 days. I work from home, and it's not a COVID-19 type of thing. I really work from home. I have my own business. I'm a photographer. I do photos. If you ever need a photographer, hit me up. But really, the main reason as well to move to a bigger place, not necessarily a house, but to a bigger place, is because I needed my own studio. I couldn't keep working in the kitchen table. I've been doing that already for 2 years, and enough is enough. Now here I have a big office to put all my camera equipment that literally takes so much space, and where I can actually have my own desk and work and be apart from the rest of the house. We don't have kids, but we want them. So many people have told me how hard it was for them to move with little kids. Since we are in this TTC journey, then why not move to the place that we want to raise a family in? House pricing is just gonna keep growing. Right now it's a little bit low because of everything that happened with Corona and tourism, but they're just gonna go up, and I have an entire video to prove it. Just click it. I'm gonna put it here and at the end of this video. My advice is, in my opinion, it's not a time to buy, but it's a time to rent. So if you can find that place that you really want, rent now, because tomorrow is going to be more expensive, and the day after, and the day after. So now is the best time to change and to go to the place that you want to go. Of course, it has been 2 years since we moved to the Czech Republic, so of course we're making more money now. So of course we could also afford something better than we could at the beginning. It is a good middle ground in between the American life and the European life. So yes, we live in Europe, but at the same time, I am American as a continent, not as a country. But we are a very Americanized family in my family. So yeah, moving to the suburbs is kind of a good in between the American dream and the European dream. I can finally stop complaining about the size of the fridge. Y'all told me, just get a bigger fridge. I couldn't, it was too small, the house. But now I have the big ass fridge I do deserve, or I do want. And as well, I can stop complaining about the washer and dryer, because we had enough space to put a washer and a dryer, so we don't have to have one combined, and that's a big relief for me. We finally have a garden, so Jan can plant all his tomatoes, and not in my balcony that at the same time I used to record my videos, and is where the barbecue was, and it was so tiny. Now we have enough space so he can plant everything he wants, because he does enjoy doing that. I hope COVID-19 is not coming back in another wave. Oh God, no. But I think a lot of people got that the same like us, that after self-isolation and after quarantine and everything, we all figured out that we were living in shoeboxes. And it was kind of scary. It was kind of scary to be like confined at home and home being so small. My parents now have more space and they can finally come visit us for a long period of time. And that's such an important thing for me. My parents live in Venezuela, so far away, right? So if they come, I don't want them to stay here like 1 week and feeling like uncomfortable of sharing bathroom and only one living room and everybody like packed in a tiny apartment. Now in this big house, they can literally come and stay 2 months if they want because we have enough space. This really helps with the need of having a hata or a chalupa. That's actually a cottage if you're not from Czech Republic. That's a Czech word. The thing is that already rent in Prague is not inexpensive. So actually saving enough money to buy a chalupa in a normal distance from Prague is doable, but it's not ideal. Living in a suburb, in a house, actually subsides both needs. So you have like a permanent home, a permanent address, and at the same time you have like enough space like if it was a chalupa. No traveling so often. I know Europeans, majority of Europeans, they work all year, they save all year, and they do 1 or 2 trips a year. That's why we get so many vacation weeks, right? I guess. The thing is, that's expensive. It looks like it's not, but it's actually expensive. So we've done the numbers, and actually by living in a bigger house, we wouldn't have the need of going on vacation as often. When we were living in the small apartment, every weekend we had to find a new destination to go, which was fine, but at the same time, it's kind of exhausting. It gets to the point that you are not living in your own home. And finally, as I said at the beginning, we could have rent or buy a house in Prague, but why? If actually in the suburbs, it's literally 5 minutes to the metro station by car, or literally 30 minutes to Mustek, so it's great. So these are the reasons why it's a good option for us. But now let's say why it might not be a good option for you. Most important thing is to ask yourself a question. If you would be living in New York, would you want to live in Manhattan in a tiny apartment? If the answer is yes, and that's super valid, this is not the type of life you want. You do not want a suburbs life. And I know maybe if you're watching this, you're an expat. And I know expats do live in Prague because of leaving the city. So maybe if that's what you want to do and you're only going to stay here maybe for a year or 2, maybe just stay in the city center because you are going to enjoy that type of life. You need a car. So if you do not have a car, the time of the transportation, like how long it takes to get to Prague, how long it takes to come back, is so long that it's not comfortable. Everybody said public transportation works great. Yeah, as long as you're like very inside Prague. The moment you move a little bit away, you have trains and everything, but they come every certain amount of time, and then it takes, I think, double the time, a little bit more than double the time than by car. You might need to start planning on meeting your friends more on schedule, meaning you might need to plan ahead to meet your friends. So it's not like, hey, Andrea, do you want to grab a coffee? And yeah, of course. It's more like, hey, Andrea, do you want to grab a coffee on Tuesday? And I would be like, yeah, that sounds like fun. Planning is a big thing when you don't live inside the city and it's not super easy to move. Houses do require much more maintenance, and that's not for everyone. I know people get overwhelmed by the fact of this house having 2 bathrooms. Well, the house I grew up has like 5, so I'm okay with 2. But what I mean, there's like lawn to mow, there's a water heater for the pool, there's a pool you have to take care of, there's so many little things, there's gardening, that if you do not have the time or you simply don't want to have the time to do that, maybe a suburbs life is not a life for you. If you both work in the city, full-time jobs, it might not be the best option. In our case, I don't work in the city, so at least one of us was kind of staying at home, so it made sense to have a bigger, better home. There's less expats around, which is a lie, and I will explain. It's true, but it's not true at the same time. So yeah, there's less people speaking English around probably, and there's less expats here, meaning you won't find your Expedia, Spanish, French people living here. What you will find is a different type of expat. Is the ones that come and buy a house, is the ones that come and raise a family here. Probably the ones that work for the government or an embassy. They might live in the suburbs as well because they're trying to imitate how they did it in their culture. We already met so many, like literally our neighbors are expats, I believe. And we already met like 2 British people that live here. So yeah, it's not completely expat free, but it's not Shishkov where everything is in English. So my conclusion is the suburb life is such a normal life in many cultures. It's not as exploited in the Czech Republic. It's slowly growing, and now with the housing crisis, I guess it's going to grow even more. But suburbs is something that has been working in US forever, in Venezuela forever, and London, and Dublin, even in Madrid. I mean, in the past, everybody wanted to live in the city center of Madrid. Now you have so many nice communities around with big houses, with pool and everything, that people with families are actually moving there. And if it works for them, why it wouldn't work for us? I think it was a great choice. So that was it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. And remember, go to my Instagram, because today at 6 p.m. I'm gonna be doing a live tour of the house. It's gonna be a mess, but at least you're gonna be able to see the house. Remember me to follow me there, because I am such an Instagrammer. I know once you start following me, you get hooked up, just because I'm so annoying, and I just share everything I do, and I guess people like that, and I like doing it, so good. And that was it. So I will see you next Tuesday with a new video. And yes, I'm finally, for next Tuesday, I'm gonna do that comparison video in between the American life and the European life. What are the different life goals, culture things, and everything, without offending any of both cultures, but actually being, giving you the ugly truth that you might not want to hear. So if you like that type of content, just subscribe to my channel, because you're gonna love all my videos. And that was it. I need to stop recording this because I have to go back unpacking, and I don't want to, but I have to. Okay, bye.